Yes. The number 3, writing prediction.
We just said
Okay.
about writing the predictions, right?
Yes, in this part, we are practicing productive skills, improving this part. And the second one, we use visualization too. Visualization to write and to create our predictions. And finally, number 4, video versus predictions. And we can, yes, we can realize if our predictions are near to the real information, and we can compare this information. So it was very fun. It's funny.
What about question 3?
We didn't work about conclusions.
It's all right. We'll talk about those.
But is it similar to the reading?
So you think it's like a receptive skills framework?
I was just telling Jessica I did the CELTA.
Oh, you did? Okay, so yeah, you probably remember the receptive skills framework.
Receptive skills, for example, audios and videos and
framework. So what are the different stages in the receptive skills framework? You've got a pre, you've got a while, and you've got a post, right? Stage. So it has some similarities there, doesn't it? Because there was a pre-viewing, there was a while viewing, and then there was a post viewing. Yeah. So definitely that I think that's very valid. But is there any other framework that it reminds you of? What about the productive skills framework?
I'm going to...
What goes on in a productive skills framework? Any ideas? Can you remember from the adult course? What happens in there?
First of all, it's lead in.
Lead in, yeah.
Lead in. For example, in productive skills like writing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that you have to write a little text or...
So there's often a model text, isn't there, right?
Model text.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's usually a focus on useful language, isn't there, within the text?
Yes, they're useful. So you are going to show some special words in vocabulary and the stress syllable. So you have to practice the pronunciation.
Right. That if it's a speaking lesson, yeah. But this is more like a writing lesson, though, wasn't it? Because we were doing more writing. But so there's usually a writing task. Yeah. And then there's usually feedback on the content of what they wrote, and feedback on the language.
And to the control practice in the middle, the control practice.
That's a PPP lesson. That's PPP lesson. There was nothing to do with PPP here.
Okay.
Yeah, but that might be to do with I think what you're thinking of is the useful language, because I did give you some useful language, didn't I? Yeah. Although it wasn't necessarily in the text. So I gave you some speculating language, right? So that speculating language you could use to do the task, which was to write a screenplay or write a board or a storyboard. Yeah. So you'll notice that this lesson we've done today has parts of receptive skills and also productive skills, doesn't it? Yeah. There was a lead in, there was a pre-stage. Right, there was a writing task. It wasn't so much a model text, but there was like a template in which you could write. There was definitely feedback on the content and there was feedback on the language. So, do you know what this kind of lesson is called? I'll give you a clue. It starts with I. It's a type of skills lesson that involves several skills combined in one lesson, and it's called integrated skills. So this is like an integrated skills lesson because it involves different skills, doesn't it? There was some speaking, there was some listening, but that wasn't really listening for language. It was more like listening to get ideas. There was some writing. There was a little bit of language input. So an integrated skills lesson is one where you have to combine several skills in one lesson. That makes sense? The idea with an integrated skills lesson is that you're trying to reflect how language is used in real life. Right? And this can be very motivating, especially for young learners, right? Because they feel that they're using language, developing language skills in a way they would do it in real life. To do projects and so on. Right. Alondra and Lulu, can you tell us about what you noted down? What were your answers to 3 and 4? What were your answers regarding the language, the stages of the lesson, Lulu and Alondra? We didn't ask you about that.
We thought that it's like PPP.
Okay, do you want to share us what you wrote?
Yeah. We identified the stages like the same as in the story, like intro, beginning, middle, and end. But now that you mentioned this part, that how we related with the framework that we choose PPP, this one. And the intro will be this leading where you talk about the activity, and then you put the maybe the some parts of the some words from the vocabulary. That would be also the presentation of the task, and then you set the recording, and you said that we have to think and to identify what's happening there. Then we have the control practice that was write the story that you imagine. Then the personalization, where we have to read the other team's story and then we have to vote to see which was the best. And then the feedback, when we saw the video and we compare our stories, maybe. Alondra, do you want to say the other questions? Like,
Yes, of course. Yes. The question, what conclusions, what you can draw from the staging of a video activity? It helps with vocabulary, it helps to activate previous knowledge, and I think can create or increase your criteria. And to the stage, and we to the stage resemble another lesson framework you are familiar with which one? PPP, because looking like the way that you give the class, we think we agree that PPP is the correct one. And the other one we didn't have that answer, the last one.
Yeah, but you say PPP, but isn't that more suited to a language lesson, a language systems lesson, like grammar and vocabulary?
Okay.
Yeah, this isn't really a language lesson, language systems lesson. It's more like a language skills lesson. Yeah, so that in that way, it's not really a PPP, although there are some aspects of it you might say are a bit similar, like the production
Yeah.
part, right?
It's because at the beginning of the class we talk about modal verbs, but I go into it, so I was thinking like PPP could be one.
Yeah, but the modal verbs was only to help them facilitate to do the task, right? So that they could speculate.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's what we call an integrated skills lesson, basically. And what about question 4?
We
I
didn't
think-
answer.
I think you can differentiate between stronger and weaker students because you are like listening, what are we saying and what are we like doing with the story. So you listen the vocabulary, the grammar that we are using, and the ideas maybe. And if you see, when you go to the document or to the Jamboard and you see your answers, you can check our writing skills also. So that's why you can identify stronger.
Well, that's getting closer to it. Which was the easier task to do? Was it the storyboard or the screenplay?
The screenplay.
Nope. Why was the storyboard easier?
Because maybe of the visuals.
Because they drawing, they can
The
draw,
drawings, yes. The drawings means
and
that
they love it. They love it.
the drawings mean they produce less language, usually, yeah? And there's less
Okay.
text, right? Whereas the screenplay is more reliant on text. It's more language challenging. So yeah, you could give, if you were to do something like this with your own students, you could give the storyboard to the weaker students, right? And you expect them to produce less writing, yeah? Whereas the screenplay is more challenging. The storyboard provides more support. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Now, so what we saw was video off, sound on, but you could do it the other way around. You could have video on, sound off. Yeah. You could select a short but key sequence of a film and play it with the volume off. The students could try and work out what's happening, the relationship of the characters and what they might be saying. Then they hear it with the volume on and note down any words or phrases that they hear. Finally, you can give them a transcript of the sequence, perhaps with some gaps in it, and they view the sequence again, following it on the transcript. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that mini lesson. I think we should move on to songs and music before we go for our break. So for this, we need the handout Using Music and Song. It's this one. There's a little reading to do here. So I've taken this from a very useful book called How to Teach Listening. Where is it? Ah, yes. By J.J. Wilson. And there's a very good section on songs and music. So it's like you've got a gist activity here. You've got to read the article quickly in about 2 to 3 minutes and match the subheadings to the correct paragraphs. All right. Okay, so starting now. Read quickly and match the headings to the paragraphs. 30 seconds left. Right, time's up. Lulu, what did you have for number 1?
I wrote C, affective reasons for music.
That's right. Yeah. And number 2, what did you have there, Lulu?
Number 2, I put letter A, linguistic reasons.
Yeah, that's correct.
Then I put letter D, adapting real life songs.
Yeah, because it mentions what? Authentic, right?
Yeah.
Authentic material.
And the last one, avoiding the lightness factor.
Yeah. Good. Now, it says read the article again, but read for detail this time. And complete the summary sentences of the effective and linguistic benefits of using songs in the classroom. So the first is effective, the second is linguistic. Now, this word bashful, do you know what that means? Is there a word you know that means the same as bashful? Begins with S. Shy, right? Shy teenagers. Okay, and so I'm going to give you a few minutes to complete those sentences, and they make a summary of the linguistic and effective benefits. So I'll give you about 3 to 4 minutes to complete those sentences. All right. Not too difficult, was it? No. So what are the benefits for teenagers of using songs, according to the article? Jessica?
Bashful teenagers often feel less intimidated.
Why?
Why? Because I think they like the music, they like the song, and they feel in another environment. So I think that it's easier for them to express their ideas.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and it suggests using the students' own songs.
Not all the songs.
No,
So
actually, the article suggests that teenage students can actually bring their own songs to class, and that you can build a lesson around their songs. We'll look at that idea in a few minutes. Okay. What about the other effective benefits? When teachers allow students to bring their own songs? Did anyone complete that one? What about you, Alondra?
The students could feel more comfortable in the environment. They like built a familiar environment, so the brain could maybe catch more of the language and pronunciation and that.
Good. That's right. And Ines, what did you note down about the linguistic benefits?
Yes, I wrote down that the rhyme helps students predict the vocabulary, and that the choruses give students multiple opportunities to hear the same phrases over and over. It does give them an opportunity to understand some of the lyrics, or at least the context.
Right, yeah. That's exactly right. Now, this author, J.J. Wilson, mentions some common difficulties teachers face with songs, but he doesn't always provide solutions. So we need to sort of think of some good solutions to these issues. Students bringing in their own songs means that designing while listening tasks will be hard because of the unpredictability. Yeah, because you don't know what the students might bring to the lesson. Here's a possible solution. We can use a project type template which works with any song. So here he does have a solution, and it's called a rebus. Okay, and I've sent it to your emails, so you can see that suggested way of dealing with teenagers' songs. The other problem here was when using authentic songs, words need to be audible, appropriate, and useful. So what is the solution to that? Now, adult students, or maybe adolescent students, won't take a song-based lesson seriously. Right? Even teenagers, they won't necessarily take it seriously. So what's the solution there? Right? I know we're doing YLs, but you might actually teach adolescents. So let's change that to adolescent students. And other Are there any other issues that you can think of with songs? Okay. I'd like you to brainstorm in your groups as many other issues you can think of. So Jessica and Ines together, please. And Alondra and Lulu. Give you about 5 minutes.
In the second point, because I had this kind of issues during class with my learners, with my learners, with my young learners. When I use music or songs, I try to share with them in advance a list of appropriate songs, because from this list they can choose, but you are giving them the opportunity to choose the songs, but it's our responsibility to take care about the information that they can get, I think.
Like appropriate the language.
Yes, because they are in a period of time, for example, when you are teaching in between 11, 13 or 10 and 12, they are very, very vulnerable.
So maybe that's the solution, like give them a list.
Yes, give them a list, share with them. I write here a list of appropriate songs for them to choose one, for example, and they can work in groups or in pairs. What do you think about it?
No, I think, yeah, that's a good solution, because when you give them as well, like too much,
Yes, because
sometimes it's
in the
not,
other way, they want to choose reggaeton, and that's horrible.
or some TikTok.
No. Yes, you can imagine. Yes, they are amazing. Big ideas.
Okay, so that's a good solution.
The other point, although the students won't take a song-based lesson seriously, I think adults and adolescents too. Yes, you were writing. Change.
I think.
Yes. What do you think about it? What
I
can
think
we do?
if they can't take the song seriously, maybe just take away the song and read to them the lyrics and even explain. I mean, if you're with young, like really young learners, you can kind of explain, look, this is, I don't know, boring. I would like to go ahead and show you the song, but if you can't take it seriously, this is the way.
The more clear verse, and then they have to complete, I don't know, like the teacher, or what do you think? It's because if we go with the beat, I don't think it's going to be like getting the lots of my mind.
Yeah, don't worry.
The goals that the teacher wants, because you want the students be familiar with the song, And if you change the beat, I don't think they are going to have the same energy with activity.
Yeah.
So I think we can choose a verse that it's more audible.
Okay. Yeah, like before you set the activity, you have to listen like really carefully the song so you can choose these verses that have a better pronunciation and volume and
It's more
everything. So,
updated.
yeah, okay, let me write that. Choose the most audible and appropriate verse. Okay. Okay, great. So I put both solutions,
Okay.
and adult students won't take a song-based lesson seriously.
Oh, it's going to be hard with teenagers, but because obviously they're going to choose their favorite song. So it's going to be like, oh yes, that's my song.
Yeah, and they already know the lyric, and yeah.
Uh-huh. So I think we can do this. Like when you ask to the student to bring a song, put like a topic, like an 80s song.
Yeah.
Or something more controlled, because if you let them bring the song they like, you're going to have a lot of problems. Like the students will come with Bad Bunny or things like that. So
Yeah, they tend to do that always.
or give to them a singer or a topic or era. I don't know,
Yeah, something more like a
specific.
controlled
Uh-huh.
exercise. Yeah, got it. Okay, I'm going to write that. And for adult students,
Some very good ideas there. So let's have Ines and Jessica. Can you tell us what your problems and solutions were? You can share screen if you don't mind.
You show your screen. You're right.
I'll share the screen. And then, so I think actually, Jessica, you came up with great ideas. You should take away this one. I just wrote them down.
No, it doesn't matter. If you want, you can tell.
So Jessica said that with her students, she shares a list with appropriate songs that she chose beforehand. And then from that list, she sometimes pairs the students up and they can choose one song to do. So I thought that was very good and still controlled. So they don't get, carried away or choose, like she said, a reggaeton song or something like that. And then we also said for, students that don't take a song seriously, to give them like specific instructions, time limits, and keep with your time limits and instructions. So you don't even give them time for them to gossip or steer away from the task. I thought that was good. I don't know if you want to add something, Jessica.
Great, yeah.
Yes, and the third one, I think it could be if you can, if you're in class, you identify something different in one of the students, something that you can find in a book, for example, like a different attitude. So I think that in this case, so you have to ask for help. In my case, I had a situation, and I told you the last class, and that was horrible during class. But sometimes you need to use all your skills to improve this moment. So sometimes you have to improvise. Sometimes you have to ask for help from another person.
Yeah. You've really thought of some good ideas there. Thank you. Alondra and Lulu,
Yep.
you can share if you wish.
Okay. Alondra, you want to start?
Yes. We can change the song speed and put it slower so they can catch the words or sing it easier, or choose the most audible
Sorry.
and abbreviated verse before you set the activity. Control the possible songs that the students can bring. For example, like Jessica and Ines say. And the third problem, you can ask them to choose a year or an artist, and during the activity, you can ask them to identify parts of the speech, and then ask them to talk about the main idea of the song. For example, to be more focused in the song, you need to put an activity that requires that. So Lulu and I were talking about give to the students ask to a student to bring a song, but give them a topic or something for have a controlled class, yes. So there can be more easier to the students be more serious in the class.
Or like when you ask to bring their favorite song, they maybe will be more motivated to do the exercise, and they will pay attention because maybe they already know the lyric, so it will be easier for them to complete your exercise. And when, for example, when we have adult students, depending on the age and the personality, they will be more engaged with the activity if they choose, for example, if I'm going to give a lesson to my mom, I'm sure she will choose like a song from the 60s, so it will be easier for her to pay attention to the lesson and to identify what is the artist talking about or something. With adult students, you will change this activity to make them think more like what is the message, what are the parts of the speech, like more a stronger activity with adults so they can enjoy and they will be really interested in the lesson. That will be like the third problem. And also with young learners, as Alondra said, they have to choose something that they like so they can be like really, really motivated with this.
Great ideas, yeah. Can I just show you this rebus idea? You may not have encountered rebus before, but it's quite useful with younger learners. So what is rebus? Well, just looking at the dictionary definition, rebus is a problem a puzzle or a problem you have to solve, consisting of one or more pictures, or sometimes one or more letters or symbols that together represent a word or phrase. Okay, so using rebuses with a song. So we've got our
Is when you replace the words, for example, vocabulary words with drawings, right?
You replace the words of vocabulary with like symbols or pictures. So how does it work? Groups, you choose a favorite song, choose one person in your group to bring a recording of the song to the class. Homework, you find the lyrics of the song you chose in step A. Find pictures that illustrate some of the words in the lyrics. Bring the pictures to class. Groups, discuss the song. Use some of the useful language in your discussion. So there's, you've got some useful language, yeah? A bit like we did today with our speculating language. So, but it's skills work, it's not grammar. You create a rebus for the song. Choose someone to write the lyrics on a large piece of paper or poster board. You discuss which words you want to replace with pictures. And you either draw pictures you need for your rebus or use pictures that you found in magazines or the internet. Glue the pictures in place. Okay. Exchange your rebus with another group. Figure out what the words or pictures or drawings represent. You sing the song to the class using the rebus. Then listen to the recording of the song to see how you did. Quite clever, isn't it? Yeah, it involves all sorts of anticipation and prediction. Finally, on songs, on music, here's a summary of the different activities that work well with songs. So I want you to read through the sections and decide what is the heading. What do they all have in common? There are four headings. Yeah. I'll give you a clue. It's like the receptive skills framework. Right? Remember receptive skills pre, while, and post? So I'll give you a couple of minutes to read through them and think of some headings to go in the spaces. A, B, C, D. Time's up. So let's ask Lulu, what do you think is the first subheading here?
I'm not sure, but it will be something like a controlled practice with songs.
Yeah, but didn't we mention pre, while, and post? Like it's a receptive skills lesson framework. So which of those do you think is going to go first? Pre, while, or post?
Pre?
Pre, yeah, because we've got a pre-listening, right?
Yeah.
Pre-listening activity. Yeah, all of those make sense as pre-listening to prepare us for the song. Alondra, what do you think about B? What do you think is going to be the subheading there?
I think it's more like listening extensively, because they need to listen many times. They are playing with the rhyme, with the lyrics. They are looking for mistakes. So I think they need to listen for all the activities that we have to listen, many times. So listen
In
extensively.
terms of the pre, while, and post, what would it be? Is it pre, while, or post?
While.
While. Everything you said was true, but yeah, in the general terms, it's the while listening activities.
Okay.
Or you're listening to the song while the students are listening. Ines, what do you have for C?
I thought it was like post,
Yeah.
because they would have to have a listen to the song and then they could do these activities.
Yeah. So they're usually some sort of productive activity, aren't they? Like something creative. Write a letter or diary entry from a character in the song. Write another verse. Illustrate the song. Could be for you, the younger learners. Reordering the lyrics on strips of paper, yeah. Brainstorm words you heard. Paraphrase it. Compare two songs on the same theme. Teach vocabulary from your song to the other students. That would be a good one. And Jessica, what do you think is D?
I think it could be like a free practice.
Is it skills or is it more like language, do you think?
I think about the skills.
Well,
Like a free practice, yes, and focus to improve something else. And for example, match the beginning of a line to the end, replace the words.
Well, that could be more like vocabulary and grammar, couldn't it? Right? Like replace the words with other words that rhyme. Well, that's a bit more like pronunciation. Yeah. So it's like grammar.
Grammar, because you have to
Vocabulary.
identify a specific, yes, like a specific information.
Pronunciation.
Pronunciation.
Yeah.
So basis in words.
Yeah. So it's word based, isn't it? Whereas the other ones are more like to do with skills. So yeah, the final ones there are more like what we call bottom up activities. So
yes,
yeah, bottom up language work.
Thank you. I have a question, and in the third part, it could be too like a personalization.
Well, yes, post-listening activities often involve personalization. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Right. So that's songs. We've been busy for 2.5 hours now, so I think we should take a break. What do you think? So 11:33 is the time. Let's take a 20-minute break. Come back at 11. This is the only break we'll have, so make the most of your break, yeah? 11:53, return. After the break, we're going to continue with stories and projects. Vale?